Welcome back. I'm Hannah from 21st Century KY and 21st Century Literacy for Primary Teachers group on Facebook. In my last post, we talked about the 4 different types of readers you may have in your classroom, and today we're going to talk about one specific type. First, let's recap. Remember, we talked about fluency and accuracy and how when we put those 2 scores together, we can determine 4 basic types of readers within our class. First, you have the fast and right reader. This means they're benchmarked for fluency and they're reading at a 95% or more accuracy rate. This is what all of our students should be striving for. Next is the slow and right reader. This reader is reading at a 95% accuracy, but their fluency is below benchmark. That means they're reading slowly, but they're reading correctly. So they're on the right track and have a few things to work on. Then there's the fast and wrong reader. This reader is benchmarked for fluency, but is below 95% for accuracy. It means they're missing a lot of words, more than 5 out of 100, as they are reading the text. The last type of reader is the slow and wrong reader. This reader is below benchmark for fluency and accuracy. They have some capability, but they have a lot to work on as well. Let's talk about the slow and right reader. The slow and right reader has certain characteristics. Also, we're going to look at certain proficiencies, and then we're going to talk about instruction for the slow and right reader. First, let's just identify the characteristics of a slow and right reader. A slow and right reader is accurate. They're right, so it means they're reading at a 95% accuracy or higher on a grade level text. They're also problem solvers, but their problem solving comes slowly. They may not be sure which strategy to choose to attack a new word, or they may take longer to think through how to call the next word or solve the next word. Slow and right readers may read without expression. This makes me think of our robot readers who read word by word. They're getting those words right, but they're not coming out with much expression. To contrast that, sometimes slow and right readers are overexpressive. It means that they're not really attending to punctuation, but they know that they should have some change in their voice, so their inflection may sound funny or be off and not hit right at the end of a sentence, or right where it should be amongst the words. Slow and right readers are below benchmark for fluency. It means that they are not reading at a fast enough pace on a grade level text to score benchmark in the area of fluency. So this means that they're not where they need to be. They have something that's lacking. Slow and right readers may or may not comprehend. Sometimes they're so slow that by the time they make it to the end of a page or even a sentence, they've lost the meaning of what it is they're reading. They're bogged down in trying to solve those words, and so they've lost altogether what they were trying to make meaning of with that sentence or that page. Most of the time when we think about readers that are not on benchmark, we think about them in terms of their weaknesses. We think about a deficit model where these kids are missing something and we need to find what it is and fill it. I want to kind of challenge our thinking as we go through this series, and instead of talking about what they cannot do, we're going to point out the proficiencies of a slow and right reader. What is it that they can do well? Typically, slow and right readers are pretty good with phonics. Slow and right readers sound out words a lot of times, and that's what makes it take so long. It means that they have a really good grasp of that sound symbol correspondence, and they probably know some pretty good word chunks. The problem is that they're going through that every time they face a word, instead of knowing when to choose that strategy. So one proficiency of a slow and right reader would be that they're good at phonics. A slow and right reader probably has a strong core of sight words. They probably know a good many words. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so accurate. It means that they know a lot of those little words when they come to them. They're just not recalling them fast enough to get that fluency score up. Also, slow and right readers show some amount of flexibility. Flexibility in reading means that you have a variety of strategies and you know at what point to pull each strategy. While their ability to solve problems is slow, they can solve problems. So that's a strength. We just really need to start helping them know when to use which type of strategy to solve problems while they're reading. They need to know when to pull that phonics, that you don't have to all the time. They need to know when to just know a word with automaticity and not try to sound it out. So we just need to build that flexibility and build their understanding of how to use these strategies that they already have. For their instruction, that's exactly what we need to pull from. We need to pull from those strategies, and we also need to add some new ones. The first would be phrasing. Lots of times, slow and right readers are either robot readers or they're reading with overexpression. So when we instruct them on the proper way to phrase their reading, we're going to get improved fluency. And that just means that we want their reading to sound like they're talking. And so we practice putting multiple words together, echo reading, modeling, having them read text over and over that are familiar so they can really get that phrasing down so that their reading sounds correctly. What goes hand in hand with that is expression. I like to think about expression and how it has to do with grammar. These kids have to understand as they're reading, when they come up to the end of that sentence and they see that question mark coming, that they're going to have to end their sentence with their voice up. Or if it's an exclamation mark, they're going to have to show some excitement at the end. With a comma, they need to take a pause. Once they get that expression down, they're really going to begin to make better meaning and read through pieces with better fluency. Clearly, they need to work on their rate. That just means speeding things up, reading lots of things more often, practicing, and just making their reading sound good. The more practice they get with that, the better it's going to be. And the last thing I might add for the instruction would be analogy. Analogy in reading means that they are pulling from something they already know in order to get to something new that they don't know. For instance, if they come across the word bat, we might say to them, that word looks a lot like a word you know. It looks like cat. Do you think you could figure out that word now? And so they take their understanding of the word cat and that onset and rhyme, and they're able to apply it to the new word bat in order to solve it. What this helps kids do is learn how to chunk words, which takes us back to our first point about these kids. They're great at phonics, but they need to know when to apply it and how to condense the process rather than letter by letter and sound by sound. Teaching a slow and right child to use analogy while they're reading and writing will make a big difference in their fluency as well, and will also help them gain confidence in attacking new words. And of course, as their fluency improves, as their phrasing and expression improves, their comprehension is going to improve as well. And once we can get those things under wrap, we'll move them into the fast and right category, where we'll work on comprehension and vocabulary as a focus.